Welcome to another CEO Wisdom podcast. Today with James Loft. He's CEO at Counsl. Counsl spelled Counsl. Also fractional COO. We're going to talk about that. One of my favorite topic. He's also an author and a speaker. We're going to talk AI, SaaS innovation, marketplaces, and intelligent automation. Hope you're ready for it. This podcast is brought to you by podbuyer.com. If you want to start, scale, or be invited to your own podcast, or if I can help you get sponsorships for your podcast. Podcasting is basically a gold mine. Helps me learn. I don't even read books anymore. I just interview 15 CEOs on a daily basis. I get sponsors, I get cash, plus I have a back end to it, a community, the newsletter, LinkedIn connects, and LinkedIn newsletter. So it's just a gold mine. The podcast is the front end of that. So I'd love to help you start or scale yours, podbuyer.com. James, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and about Counsl, please.
Thanks. Yeah, sure. Good afternoon from my perspective here in the UK. I'll start with Counsl. Counsl is a very new initiative that we've created. In fact, launching formally this week to the wider audience. Counsl came about because we saw a need, felt that we had to help professional services firms in many ways to better make people aware of what they were capable of, what their expertise was, whilst at the same time helping small businesses find the right advice they need at the right time. So we are in the market of introducing people who have specific challenges to the people who can help them. Getting rid of long retention contracts with people who you might need one day, and speaking very much to the right person you need at the right time, depending on your situation or your problem. And we do that. We rely very heavily on the technology that sits in the platform to do that, which in essence is a tool that looks at semantic distance between problem and capability of expert, and works to link those two things as best it can. So have a letter from a tax man, have a particular question, it doesn't matter which one, load it into the system and we'll find the right person for you to talk to.
Tell me about smart automation. In my mind, there's 4 steps to productivity. One is mental. So I have the habit to ask James after the podcast, if I can help him with that lead gen or whatever. The second one would be a template, right? So I send a bunch of emails to people, I get replies, then I send the templates. That's already done. The third one is classic automation, so Zapier and systems and so forth. And the fourth one would be AI and eventually AGI, who knows. Tell me about smart automations, the systems that you have, and how I can increase my productivity as a business owner from the upside and for the sell side, if you can too.
Sure, I think there's a number of ways of doing that, and I think the last 10 years of my life in a different form I've spent codifying the expertise of organizations to do that on a decision automation perspective. So really going into the detail of how people make decisions, looking at the mathematics of that, and codifying that into a system that can, in a way that is fully explainable, can answer questions, goal-based problems, goal-based questions that people put to it, based on a corpus of knowledge that you codify into the system. I think that's one of many examples. I think all the things you just said is the honest. You asked what is smart automation. Smart automation is the right way of using all of those different things you just said, and connected together in the right way. I think what we're trying to do at Counsl from an automation perspective is perhaps to take that a bit further, is to look at the right balance of automation between automated expertise, automated advice, but also connecting into the right human at the right time, to continue that on. So in the longer term, what we're working towards is a tokenized world of expertise where people can ask one question and have an answer to it that is actually built by a system from 20 to 30 people's worth of expertise that's brought together as a single answer to a question, But then if you interact with it and you want to delve into a particular part, to be able to link that back to who the expert was that piece of the answer came from, and be able to make that connection to a human again, we really see that balance as being the important thing. And it all starts with search, right? It all starts with being able to, and to a certain extent, semantic search in the way we're using it is automation. It's automating the fact of going onto Google, finding a collection of people, whittling them down, identifying the right one, vetting them, speaking to them, doing all of this stuff. So in many ways, I know it's one step from the user's perspective, but we are automating the process of finding and engaging with the right person. And search is the beginning part of that, because that's where the biggest gap is between identifying what someone's problem actually is through to being able to identify the person who can help them.
Love it. And any examples for my business? Any concrete examples that I can use, or tools that you're using? For example, I'm using harpa.ai to create my YouTube chapters after we're done. So that was a recent game changer. I'm using Claude. I'm uploading like lists of folks in there, and I ask Claude for their websites, for example, superstars, and then I might ask Claude also to find their emails. Then I can outreach to them for my podcast and so forth. And yeah, I use a bunch of AI follow-ups systems for my own communities, note-taking, for example, and so forth, to generate even more insights in that cool backend, and even books, for example, written by AI. So what systems or automation or productivity method have you used lately to generate more cash?
Yeah, I mean, the honest answer is that all of those in some form, yes. As running a business ourselves, that we use a lot of those things. So a lot of the copy support that we've seen, I think matter of months ago, you'd have been going to a particular tool to get copy support. Now you can write a sentence in Notion and click a button, and you can change the tone of it, change the approach of it, change the length of it, summarize your own work. So we've certainly used that and similar, both in our running the business, but also in the tool itself. So somebody, don't rely on people to write tags about things, because traditionally they're rubbish at doing it. So we've been using AI systems to consistently create tags from what people have inputted into the platform, to be able to sort of widen the capability of that sort of stuff. I think the one that we've been using a lot of, and we were talking about it briefly before we started, is around the context and situational elements that some of these systems are allowing us to have. So by using the system to identify the environment within which the question is being asked, being able to get a better answer out of it. And we're using that in the platform to help people better articulate their problems. So in the same way that you can use with ChatGPT with any of the tools you mentioned, is to actually use it as a way of interrogating what we've written, getting feedback as if you were speaking to somebody who was helping you ask your question more consistently or in more detail, in order to get a richer view of what you're actually trying to achieve. So I think the stuff that we're seeing in a lot of the tools we use as a business, we've been trying to bring into the platform as well. I mean, there isn't a day that goes by that I don't use AI now somewhere in my daily life. And that's a conscious choice to use one of those tools. I still think there's a whole collection of people out there, the majority that aren't. I think we are the few still, as much as it being in that bubble makes us feel like everyone is. I think it's still a huge space that very few people are doing, and we're focused on using AI in a search capability. So we really hope that will become one of those tools very, very quickly that people get to use to benefit getting to their answer a lot quicker, rather than lengthening your paragraph or changing your tone, which is a very common use.
Right. Okay. So in a search capability, I've replaced like 80% of my stuff with AI this year. I do believe that it's going to be a couple of entrepreneurs that know how to manage AIs that are going to dominate this market. What do you think about that thesis from an ops perspective?
Entrepreneurs, as you say, in the sense of
Yeah, inside
or
business intro or
yeah,
entre if they're your co-founders.
yeah. I think any organization that recognizes this and doesn't fear the big looming terror story that the media has, for decades enjoyed, will do very, very well out of this. I've seen a lot going on in law firms. There is a lot of movement around the use of LLMs, and that's because law firms have suffered the same problem for many, many years, which is they know a lot of things organizationally. They're just not very good at being able to bring it all together at the right time and use it. They rely exceptionally heavily on people to be able to make those connections. So there are, I think where there's organizations where there's roles existing trying to solve some of the problems that this so easily solves, you're absolutely going to get real sort of pushes forward with that sort of use of LLMs in particular. I think anyone who's got a track record of demonstrating innovative delivery in any organization, if they're prepared to adopt this, we'll see huge strides forward. I don't necessarily think it's the technology. I think it's possibly the organization that makes the difference. And I think anyone who's demonstrated that previously will do it again with this. Regulation needs to catch up, right? It's the environment within which that we work and we feel confident doing these things, especially at the enterprise level. As soon as those things shift in our favor, or we challenge them in the appropriate way, hand in hand with a regulator, as soon as we can do those things, we'll feel a lot more confident about letting these systems go. I think anyone who nails chat is going to do huge things. I think anyone who nails the experience of the front end chat interface of AI systems to the mass market will lead the charge in what they're able to do with this technology. Chat is the interface of the future, and the design of it, the interaction of it, the UX of it still isn't there to understand how it can best serve people with AI supporting it.
And how will that impact Counsl?
Well, so the beauty of chat being at the center of Counsl is that we have a platform right now. We don't need that. Businesses, we're talking about supporting busy businesses. Busy businesses don't need another thing to log into. They need somebody who is there. So our aim with Counsl is to become that extra member of the team. So imagine the wallet of professional services through WhatsApp, through Slack, through whatever medium you use to communicate with your existing team today. Imagine having the expertise of the entire professional services world at the other end of that interaction. And that's our aim. Our aim is to make it seamless, connected, and fully auditable as if they are a member of your team. So, for us, chat is vital to do that, because between chat and video interaction, you don't need anything else to get the might of many, many, many professionals and experts to support your journey.
Right. So what are your objectives this year? What do you want to build with Counsl?
Yeah, so we continue to build out the platform itself. So we have a lot of pieces around doing connected projects. So we want to work on a piece where we've essentially become automated in support of business or business growth moments. So rather than just introducing you to one person, you take the challenge, I want to grow my business by X. You don't just get introduced to one person who's very good at sales. You get introduced to a salesperson, to a marketing person, but the right ones for the way you're trying to solve your problem. We want to be able to curate that on a project level for people. So we're here to solve a problem, not just answer a question. So there's a lot of that in the platform itself that we'll go into. We want to bring more into the platform. So we want to be able to bring documentation. We want to automate some of the regulatory pieces that law firms have to do, etc., to make it seamless. So you genuinely only need one contract with us to be able to use all of these services. And then alongside that, which is our second stream, which is our technology stream, we want to take huge leaps forward in some of the semantic search work we're doing. So we want to start doing a lot more around ingestion of information from businesses. We want to look a lot more at Langcat. and bring a lot more information in its current form in order to be able to enhance that search, whilst we're also working with a number of chosen organizations around this tokenizing expertise. So their thesis-based work where we want to be able to codify and automate small nuggets of people's ability that we can then use as part of a wider piece. So sort of the two streams: one, keep growing the platform as is, and two, look at that leaps to that next piece in the way of technology, so that we reach this world very, very quickly where we have this true hybrid, automated, professional, all in one place experience for people to get support as and when they need it.
Right. And say we transport ourselves 10 years in the future where that with that company, where do you think it'll be? What will you have achieved by then?
I think that leans a little bit into some of the other stuff. You said you're interested in talking about. I think the fractional market is huge. So one of the things that we're looking at doing this year that I didn't mention is, at the moment, we're company to company. We absolutely want to open this up as individual to company as well. So we want to support people in being able to benefit from what they know. There's lots of phrases you could use. I hate them all, but the gig economy for what you know, for the gig economy for your expertise. There's a huge thing in that space. I think the markets available. We're a UK company right now. The US market for fractional work is somewhere in the region, I think, of 250 billion a year US. So that market is huge. People are very much waking up to a more portfolio style of understanding what they do. So we're definitely looking at that. I think with tokenizing, we've also got the opportunity to look at legacy and how you turn knowledge into asset, and how you leave a business but still leave a footprint behind you that you can continue to earn money from, because it's it's an asset of your knowledge and all that sort of stuff. So I think we've got lots to do, lots of ways to perhaps shake things up a bit. The 10-year goal is, I fundamentally hope that we have disrupted the professional services market for the better, but done it every single step of the way, hand in hand with them, because I think they all want to make the change anyway. They just don't necessarily know how.
You think the future is like 100% fractional / freelancers and an AI deciding what contract is right for them, and someone writing on like 10, 20 contracts at a time?
I don't think it's completely that. I think there's a large element of it that, and I think post-pandemic world suits a lot of people more than the old world. It doesn't suit everybody that way, but I think my aim is to find the natural point at which those two worlds meet in a supportive way. So I speak to people who they work in big companies. The message they're saying is, we have to accept that the majority of our people are sitting at home with two laptops, two worlds. So I think it's going to happen, but I don't think it has to be one or the other. I think you could have an 80% of your life full-time job with somebody and give them everything that they need and benefit, and then there's a 10% opportunity to do something completely different. Yes, there's a myriad of challenges from a regulatory and a legal perspective to work through in that, but I think there's enough of a movement to force the hand in something having to be there in that way.
Right. You're on your deathbed. What will you have accomplished in this life to make you satisfied on that deathbed?
I will have allowed organizations that didn't have a network, didn't have a comfy blanket around them, to have succeeded as a result of what we're creating. I'm not the guy that wants to be on the front of Time magazine. I want a boring business that we sit in the middle of supporting these organizations get where they need. I have a hobby horse I can jump on in the UK specific about how we look after small businesses. I won't bore you with that. But I think we have so many people out there who would do great things if only they had the luxury of network, etc., that bigger businesses have. And I think that's what we're looking to bring to people. So, if I could turn around on my deathbed and see that there was great ideas that had been able to survive as a result of our support, then I've done my job.
Where can people find out more about you, James?
Come and have a look on the website, counsl.xyz. Very UK central at the moment, but always interested in finding out how to expand beyond that. So if you're outside of that and you've got an interest, please get in touch. We'd love to talk.
And I'm Charles Cormier, host of founderwisdompodcast.com. If you want to start, scale, or be invited to a podcast, that is podbuyer.com. That was James Loft, everyone.